Welcome back to Clueless Classics. Today we're going to go through the quirks of owning this TVR as it stands today, and also later on in the video we're going to run a little experiment to see how much it's costing me to run. I've brought the car down to the yard because I thought it'd be really nice before Steve starts working on the car to have a look at how I received it from the team at Dead Centre. So there are lots of quirks with TVRs. The first one is how you get into it. Now, a lot of TVRs after this one, you press a little button just under the wing mirror here. However, on this one, it's a nice simple silver button that you press on the door, and then that pops the door open. It's exactly the same over on the passenger side. One thing I do love about these doors is when you've got the windows down, which I do quite a lot, this nice piece of sharp metal, which does look very good, but is absolutely lethal when you're trying to get into the thing. Jumping into the driving seat, I can imagine if you got into this car for the first time, not knowing what anything did, you'd be really confused by what's going on. Now, of course, we've got the modifications for the turbo, which we are going to tidy up. You do notice in here, there's an abundance of unlabeled buttons. So the dials up here are your temperature and direction controls, your fan speed control there that we need to stick the cap onto. Here's where the clock normally lives, but we've got our air-fuel ratio gauge. We've got our fuel gauge that I don't really trust. We've got our temperature gauge that we've had repaired since I've had the car, and also oil pressure, speedo and rev counter. Down here, your three unlabeled buttons are your side lights, your dip beam and also your fog lights. Again, you'd have no idea about that. Your hazard lights live there, and these little displays over here tell you what's going on. That's actually indicators a flash in left or right. And then you've got various things like your handbrake indicator and also your main beam and fog light indicators there. You've got a radio that I don't really use. I've got a 5-speed manual transmission, handbrake, and this is the dial for my doors. Turn it one way to open the driver's door and also right for the passenger door. And the little button on the top locks them closed. Now you might be saying, where are the window switches? And this is one thing I thought. This is an ashtray. That's where you adjust your mirrors, left and right electric mirrors, and a cigarette lighter. The electric window switches are actually hidden back here on the TVR, so all these vents do is either warm or keep these switches cool. Alongside the carpet in this car, the one thing that really lets it down is this dashboard here. It was originally wood covered, it's a piece of metal, but over the last year, 2 years, it's really degraded. So I've been doing some Googling and found out that we can order a replacement one of these, so that's definitely something that we need to do. This mess of wires down here is where the ECU, the battery and the fuses live. This is another thing on our list to tidy up. It needs doing, and also you can see the state of the interior carpet here as well. With this being a TVR, of course, you've got no ABS, you've got no traction control, and you've got no power steering. I'll be honest, it's great to drive. The steering feels great, it's really responsive, and the car lets you know what you're doing. You're always terrified of driving this thing, however, you can feel what's going on, which is quite refreshing, especially if you drive a lot of modern cars. The boot on this car is absolutely huge. It really surprised me. This has also got the roof in it at the moment, but because it is a TVR, I've also got some blue roll, some wheel chocks, and some 5W50, because they're kind of essentials that you can never leave the house with. The spare wheel fits in here. You've got loads of room for any luggage. And also, if you ever do want to put the radio on, I've got a 10-disc Sony CD changer. How 90s. The fuel filler is also in the boot, so you have to make sure that you open the boot before you take the keys out of the ignition when you're at a petrol station. Well, that's all the oddities, or features as TVR like to call it. So let me explain why it's using so much fuel. But this car is running a replacement ECU, which has a temporary map on it, which means the car's running extremely rich. Now, getting the car on a dyno and getting a proper map on the car is one of the jobs that we need to get done. But the one thing I've not worked out is what my current miles per gallon is. So we're going to head to the fuel station, we're going to brim the tank with some V-Power, and we're going to see, after a drive, what the current MPG of this car is. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a small number. So this experiment is a real simple one. Basically, I've reset my digital trip on the speedo on the phone because I do not trust this one at all. We're going to drive a few miles, then we're going to come back to this petrol station, refill up to the top, and see how much fuel we've used. I really wanted to get the true miles per gallon figure of this car before it got remapped, because it must be drinking so much fuel on this map. It's unbelievable. While I am doing this little test, I do want to say a big thank you to all of you that have already subscribed, liked and commented on the channel. The uptake's been brilliant, and everyone that we've met and spoke to so far is really excited to see what we do with this car. So thank you so much, I really appreciate it. If you are enjoying the channel and enjoying the content that we put out so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button, it really helps. And also give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. So I'm trying the head mount on this one, because I thought you'd like to see what it was like from the driver's seat. I know a lot of people really wanted to get this car. Right, here we go then. The natural home of the TVR, next to the ditch, I suppose. They end up there a lot. So as I said before, you do have to make sure to pop the boot. Tighten the fuel filler. Check that's on. Check you got the keys, because if you lock it in the boot, you're in trouble. First time. Impressive. Right, let's go pay. Hi, pal, you alright? Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Now it's time to work out how much fuel this experiment actually used. So I filled the car up and it took 29.85 litres. We then drove 30.2 miles using 9.46 litres of fuel. That means my current MPG is 14.5. Not great. So an ECU remap is something else that I need to add to the list. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. It's been something a bit different, but I thought it'd be nice to see the car in its current state before we hand it over to Steve and the team. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed this week's video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have, and I'll see you next time.